and welcome. You are watching Eagle News America. I am Alfred Asenas coming to you from Honolulu, Hawaii. Yes, the middle of the Pacific. And as always, we have our updates from several of our correspondents across the United States. We start off in the nation's capital, where Ace Ramirez talks about 700 million doses of coronavirus vaccine projected for distribution by the end of the year. That'll be an interesting topic. Now we move on to the northeastern United States, where we have our bureau chief there, Carlo Valdez, with his update.
Anti-racist protests continue in New Jersey.
All the way up in the West Coast in Southern California, we have Mary Ann Borja with her report.
The California National Guard leaves Los Angeles after several days of peaceful protests.
Over to Southern Nevada in Vegas, we have our bureau chief there, Anna Cui, with the latest.
Governor Sisolak highlights COVID-19 progress as the city of Las Vegas opens up.
And today, we will get to know a woman from Fort Worth in North Texas who will share with us a glimpse of how living a biracial life molded her into what she is now, and how it is to be a frontline worker in these trying times. Plus, like we strive to do, we end this program with some good news about one organization, the Iglesia Ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, in various locations in the U.S., recognizing and celebrating today's frontline and essential workers. Don't miss those. But first, like we always do, we provide an overview of how the world looks right now in regards to the ongoing novel coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Like we always use our sources at Johns Hopkins as of 4 p.m. Eastern Time on Sunday, June 7. The number of cases of COVID-19 worldwide is now close to 7 million. This includes close to 2 million in the U.S. and more than 96,000 up in Canada. As for the sad note, the virus has claimed more than 401,000 lives globally, including more than 110,000 in the U.S. and close to 8,000 in Canada. Now, to kick things off, we start right here in the Aloha State. Now, even if we're located in the middle of the Pacific, we're not immune to the ongoing unrest happening all over the U.S. and now in other parts of the world. Although demonstrations here have been generally peaceful, authorities are not taking any chances and are encouraging or reminding the public to conduct peaceful protests and dispel any rumors that encourage any form of violence. Here's a recap of recent events right here in this part of the world. Take a look. Now, since we've submitted that report, we've gotten an update from the Honolulu police that actually more than 10,000 on Oahu alone participated in yesterday's demonstrations, peaceful demonstrations. Now, when we come back, updates from your Eagle News correspondents across the USA. This is Eagle News.
This weekend, tara na't mamangha sa galing at talento ng mga Pinoy sa iba't ibang sulok ng mundo.
It's now or never.
It's so easy.
Abangan sila at mapawaw dito lang sa pinakamalawak na talent competition on Philippine TV and online. Ito ang Tagisan ng Galing.
The ones that make a brighter day, so let's start giving.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matinco. R Square Variables Incorporated, CompuZell Computer Services, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
This is Eagle News America. I am Alfred Acenas coming to you from Honolulu. 700 million doses of coronavirus vaccine are projected for distribution by the end of 2020. Ace Ramirez, our bureau chief in Washington, D.C., has the details. Ace.
AstraZeneca, a global science-led biopharmaceutical company based in Cambridge, UK, ventured into a $750 million landmark agreement with the Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovations, or CEPI, and Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance, to support the manufacturing, procurement, and distribution of 300 million doses of the University of Oxford's COVID-19 vaccine. AstraZeneca also aims to supply 400 million doses for low and middle income countries before the end of 2020 through a licensing agreement done with Serum Institute of India, or SII. AstraZeneca Chief Executive Officer Pascal Soriot said, and I quote, "We are working tirelessly to honor our commitment to ensure broad and equitable access to Oxford's vaccine across the globe and at no profit. Today marks an important step in helping us supply hundreds of millions of people around the world, including those in countries with the lowest means." Oxford University's Jenner Institute, working with the Oxford Vaccine Group, developed the vaccine now known as AZD1222. It uses a replication-deficient chimpanzee viral vector based on a weakened version of a common cold virus, or adenovirus, that causes infections in chimpanzees and contains the genetic material of SARS-CoV-2 spike protein. According to AstraZeneca's press release, after vaccination, the surface spike protein is produced, priming the immune system to attack COVID-19 if it later infects the body. The press release also states, and I quote, "The recombinant adenovirus vector, ChAd-OX1, was chosen to generate a strong immune response from a single dose, and it is not replicating, so cannot cause an ongoing infection in the vaccinated individual." Vaccines made from the ChAd-OX1 virus have been given to more than 320 people to date and have been shown to be safe and well tolerated. In other COVID-19 vaccine news, the Department of Defense has awarded a contract to Novavax, the Gaithersburg-based biotechnology company, to manufacture its NVX-CoV2373 COVID-19 vaccine candidate. Novavax agreed to deliver 10 million doses for DoD in 2020, which will be used for phase 2 and 3 clinical trials or under an emergency use authorization if approved by the Food and Drug Administration. It's interesting to note that AstraZeneca stock prices increased by 48% from last year, and Novavax increased more than 1,000% compared to last year. From Gaithersburg, Maryland, Ace Ramirez, we live in interesting times.
Mahalo, and thank you for that update, Ace. I recall a previous report by Eliza regarding Novavax. Glad to see that you guys are monitoring progress there. We look forward to more updates there in the nation's capital. Now, over to the northeastern seaboard, anti-racism protests continue in New Jersey. Our NJ Bureau Chief Carlo Valdez is standing by with his story. Good to see you finally, Carlo. Looks like you're doing okay.
Doing okay, Alfred. Thank you so much for having me. Actually, today marks the 5th day of the planned protest in New Jersey over the death of George Floyd. Here's the footage of the recent anti-racism and anti-police brutality protest taken by one of our correspondents, Rod De La Paz, here in New Jersey. Let's take a look.
We bring ours up. And ways we can do that is by supporting black businesses, respecting black people, black men, black women especially. Let me let you guys know, the Franklin Police Department has been nothing but respectful to us, the community of Franklin. So I don't want anything going on when we get down there.
Thank you, Ron, for that video. Now for some updates for COVID-19. According to covid19.nj.gov, New Jersey has 426 new cases reported today, bringing the total to 164,164 New Jerseyans that tested positive for COVID-19. Of those cases, 1,769 are in hospitals. 503 are in critical condition or intensive care. 379 are on ventilators. And sadly, 79 more New Jerseyans have passed from the virus, bringing the total to 12,176 lives lost. In Union Township, New Jersey, Carlo Valdez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Thanks very much for that update, Carlo, and the footage. Now, being a resident there yourself for many years now, I mean, how do you see these recent events changing the landscape in your neighborhood? I mean, yeah, what do you expect might happen? What do you think might happen in the coming days after all these events?
Thanks, Alfred, for that question. As we see now during these times of protests around the nation and even throughout the whole world, and as we have seen in the peaceful protest video from Rod, we are seeing a lot of the solidarity with each other. As far as my neighborhood is concerned, it's a pretty diverse neighborhood, so we don't really see much racial tensions here. But the protests do continue to make us aware of our surroundings and of what's going on in the world.
Well, okay, Carlo, good to see you finally, at least, you know, face to face, and do take care of yourself and your family there. Thank you very much. Now, over to California. In the LA area, we have correspondent Marianne Borja in North Hills with her report. Aloha, Marianne.
Thank you, Alfred. A little over a week since California State Governor Gavin Newsom gave the go-ahead for the National Guard to assist Los Angeles, Mayor Eric Garcetti announced today that the peacekeeping force will withdraw this evening, leaving just a small number behind until June 10, just in case they're needed. This decision comes after a decline of looting and unrest in Los Angeles neighborhood. Mayor Garcetti also stated, "I'm proud that our city has been peaceful this week and that our residents are leading a powerful movement to make Los Angeles more just, equitable, and fair for Black Angelenos, communities of color, and all of our workers, youth, and families." Demonstrators, however, still continue to march through the streets of Los Angeles, and although crimes committed alongside these protests have lessened, a threat of theft, vandalism, and property damage still remain. Over the weekend, more than 20 protests were planned throughout different areas of the county. Since activists for the most part have kept things peaceful, officials determined that keeping the National Guard in Los Angeles was not necessary. Since their deployment, the National Guard has made their presence felt, standing watch over Los Angeles City Hall and patrolling some of the neighborhoods hit hardest by looters. Many Los Angeles residents hope that their departure is a clear sign that normalcy is returning to the county, but in a tweet by Governor Newsom, the terms of that normalcy should be scrutinized, stating, "Our justice system is not blind. It discriminates based on the color of your skin. We've accepted that as normal. Normalcy created the conditions that led to this moment. If you want to go back to normalcy, I'm not going there with you. We deserve more." In the Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 1,523 newly reported cases and 25 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in this county are 63,844 with 2,645 deaths, as announced this afternoon by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California now has 128,812 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 4,626 deaths, as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In North Hills, California, Marianne Borja, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo, thank you for the latest there in Southern California, Marianne. It's just impressive, or astounding that over 20 protests were planned just this weekend alone there in LA County. How far-reaching has this movement become? What do you think?
Well, Alfred, the demonstrations are certainly indicators of how much people have been spurred to action, not just by sheer number of protesters, but even by communities they reach. For example, the city of Simi Valley is known for being a retirement community of sorts, but a protest occurred there. Longtime residents have reported that this was the first time that they've ever witnessed a protest happening in their quiet city.
Wow, for sure there'll be more, especially there, in a place as big as LA. Good to see some developments happening, as well as on what's happening with the pandemic there in Southern California. Take care of yourself, please, Marianne. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, now we go to Hawaii's 9th island, also known as Las Vegas, where we have our bureau chief there, Anna Cui, with the latest on what's going on there. Aloha, Anna.
Aloha, Alfred. Thank you. Well, it's been about 2 weeks now, as of last Friday, since Phase 2 reopening here in Las Vegas. And Governor Sisolak held a press conference 3 days ago highlighting the progress. He gave credit to the hard work and dedication of Nevadans who have taken the threat of the virus seriously and banded together as a community here, by following the strict guidelines implemented with the stay-at-home mandate, along with social distancing and wearing of facial coverings, which we all know now were all necessary to flatten the curve of the spread of this virus. So he also stated in this press conference, and I quote, "We know we will continue to have new cases, and these criteria help us monitor Nevada's overall long-term capacity to respond effectively." So here's what he highlighted in this press conference. And about 2 months ago, he, along with California, Colorado, Oregon, they had the same kind of recovery roadmap to recovery plan. And goal number 1 was the downward trajectory of COVID-19 cases and decrease in the trend of COVID-19 hospitalizations over a 14-day period. And as of today, I actually, just checked out the numbers. Nevada is on day 43 of a downward trajectory in positivity rate, with an average of about 5.7% in the last 10 days, which is down from 12% beginning of May. Nevada is well below the World Health Organization's recommended standard of 10%. Goal number 2 was to strengthen healthcare infrastructure, ability to maintain hospital capacity without crisis standards of care. And as of June 3rd, Nevada's confirmed COVID-19 hospitalizations have been on an overall downward trajectory since April 21, which is a total of 43 days. And also, according to the Nevada Hospital Association, the member hospitals are with a normal supply of personal protective equipment or PPEs. And, there are the number of hospitalizations related to COVID has also been on a decline. Goal number 3, testing expansion. In the month of May, Nevada increased daily testing by 500%. And Nevada has the testing and lab capacity to test all patients now, regardless of whether they are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms or not. Also, we have a specific website here called the Nevada Health Response, which recently launched a testing indicator map to help all of us residents who can go find a testing location and be tested for free. Goal number 4, case contact tracing, sufficient public health workforce capacity and local and state health departments to conduct case contact tracing. This, of course, remains one of the goal priority is to be able to detect, test, trace, and isolate when needed. And finally, to continue to protect vulnerable populations. We need to have a sustainability to protect our vulnerable populations, especially in the special settings like health facilities and nursing homes. And according to Governor Sisolak in this report, Nevada is one of 4 states identified last week by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services as having inspected all nursing homes to make sure they're meeting federal infection control standards. And as it was for phase 1, phase 2 will remain effective for about 2 to 3 weeks. We're going on third week this coming week per the governor, and he continues to remind Nevadans that our action will determine our next steps. So he also stated that according to the medical experts, again, until there is cure or vaccine, social distancing is the most powerful response we have to continue to slow the spread of COVID-19. And as for the opening of the Las Vegas Strip, Alfred, I know you have a lot of questions, but let me give you some of the things that we've noticed. As a couple of our team members actually went out for ourselves and checked it out. A few things. There's several stations with dispensers of hand sanitizer, along with like free gloves and masks all over, the hotel properties. There's even hand washing stations. There's signage everywhere reminding visitors not to enter the property if they're experiencing any kinds of symptoms such as cough and fever. We saw temperature checking at guest registration. One of my favorite places here at the Las Vegas Strip is the Bellagio Conservatory and Botanical Garden. And as you can see there, it's beautiful as ever. But there was a bit of a line. Of course, it's controlled. The people inside are limited. But it was the bit of a wait was well worth it. And even a statue outside of Caesar's Palace is donned with a gold mask, reminding everyone to do the same. In Las Vegas, Anna Cui, Eagle News, we live in interesting times. Back to you, Alfred.
Mahalo, thank you very much, Anna. And actually, hats off to you guys from last Sunday when you guys submitted that last-minute update on the protests there. I'm curious though, what's the atmosphere like since then in regards to the unrest?
I was actually since then we haven't really seen. I mean, we've heard of I constantly check for updates, and there's been some isolated smaller groups like in northwest side of Las Vegas the other night, but there has not been, big reports just like it was last week. Sadly, there was one officer who was shot that same night that we went out on Sunday. So we're just, we're glad that we didn't stick around. We did what we did, and then we left the area. So, but the officer, as of in the same conference, actually, Governor Sisolak reported that he's still in ICU, but he's doing better. We hope that he continues to recover.
Mahalo, thanks again, Anna. You guys be safe there, and again, even for us, like yours truly, we look forward to what's going on there in Hawaii's 9th city. You take care.
Thank you, Alfred.
Coming up, we will talk story or have a conversation with a woman from Fort Worth in North Texas who will share with us what it's like to live a biracial life and how it's molded her to what she has become now, and how it is to become a frontliner like herself in these challenging times. We'll be back for more. This is Eagle News.
COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a new coronavirus introduced to humans for the first time. It is spread from person to person, mainly through the droplets produced when an infected person speaks, coughs, or sneezes. These droplets can land in the mouths or noses of people who are nearby. These droplets are too heavy to travel far in the air. They only travel approximately 1 meter and quickly settle on surfaces. This is the reason person-to-person spread is happening mainly between close contacts. The exact time that the virus can survive on surfaces is not yet known. So it is wise to clean surfaces regularly, particularly in the vicinity of people infected with COVID-19. Hands touch many surfaces, which can be contaminated with the virus. You should therefore avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth, since contaminated hands can transfer the virus from the surface to yourself. When coughing or sneezing, cover your mouth and nose with the bend of your elbow or use a disposable tissue. If a tissue is used, discard it immediately into a closed bin. The most effective way to prevent the spread of the new coronavirus is to clean your hands frequently with an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water. This will eliminate the virus if it is on your hands. Stay healthy and prevent the spread of COVID-19.
We welcome you back to our broadcast. Joining Eagle News today is Lovely Anderson from Fort Worth, Texas. She was brought up in a biracial household and is now a mother of 2 boys and working as a frontliner as an airport customer service representative at Love Field in Fort Worth, Texas. Now, Lovely will share with us her thoughts about the ongoing call for racial equality and also her experiences as a frontline essential worker during this COVID-19 pandemic. Ekomamai, welcome, and aloha, Lovely. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. First and foremost, I appreciate you having me on your show. I think it's very important that we open up the means of dialogue and we talk about things and we have a conversation and it opens it up that we can all talk about something. Again, my name is Lovely Anderson. I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a single mom and I'm also a frontline employee at Dallas Love Field Airport in Dallas, Texas.
So, just describe to us what is it like growing up, being biracial?
It's a good thing because I grew up with the best of both worlds. I have my mother; she is from the southeastern country, the Philippines, and I have my dad. He is born and raised in the United States, African American, and my dad was in the military. He met my mother in the Philippines, and our family begun. We come from humble beginnings from the Philippines and we moved to the States. We've moved around. I grew up in Japan. I graduated high school from Japan and then I moved to the States. So it's been a ride. I will say that it does help me being a biracial child because I'm open to a lot of different cultures.
So your dad was in the military and was stationed in Japan. Okay, that's... Domo arigato gozaimasu.
Domo arigato
said that correctly. Now, so you stayed there and did not move until to the U.S. until age 20. So
yes.
how was? There's got to be some culture shock along the way, from one country to the next. Describe to us what that was like.
Absolutely. I actually grew up in Japan. You grew up in Japan. In a country like Japan, you grow up around the Japanese and the other Americans. In Japan, you're an American. So everybody were the same. And then when I moved to the U.S., coming to the United States, I was so culture shocked because that's where the segregation comes in. You're black, you're white, you're this, you're that. But growing up in Japan, it didn't really bother me so much because I didn't really notice it. In Japan, you're American and we're all the same.
Interesting. So, being biracial, and especially now what's going on, share us your thoughts, the challenges, or maybe opportunities for better understanding.
I think it's important to just kind of understand what the protests and what all is going on. And before we can even talk about it, we have to really dissect the situation and see what it is. We have to understand, we have to ask the questions who, what, when, and why. who are the protesters? The protesters that are going on right now, the protesters, it's basically a larger group called the Black Lives Matter movement. They're bringing awareness to social injustice due to the racial discrimination. They're bringing awareness to the all the many senseless lives lost at the hands of the white police officers. They're protesting now. I think the George Floyd incident was just the icing on the cake that just finally everybody has come together, and they're wanting to bring awareness to this, and they want change. They want change in our criminal justice. They want to see change in America, and we want to get rid of this social injustice based on the color of our skin.
Now, you said you have children yourself, and of course, families, from in different places. What kind of dialogue or what have you shared with your kids and other family members about what the ongoing unrest? What's that dialogue like?
The dialogue and the conversation I have with my kids is I let them know that it's important that we love above anything. We love people despite their race, the color of their skin. We don't judge them by the color of their skin. We love everybody. It's important that as kids they grow up with the love in their heart versus hate and discrimination in their heart.
Good to know. Good to know. Now, let's shift gears slightly to COVID-19. Of course, the airline ended hard all over.
Absolutely.
What's the situation like now in your company? What's the way ahead as far as trying to get you guys back in the swing of things?
I think what my company is doing is what we're doing very well is we are trying our best to make sure that we have the social distancing. We're doing everything we can to clean and disinfect things and doing all the necessary steps to kind of prevent the spread of COVID-19, which I think is really important. Despite the whole protesting and all that, we're still dealing with a pandemic. So I think it's just really important that we all focus on staying safe.
True. Now, just for the knowledge of our audience around the world, because I recall the two biggest airports there in the Dallas area. You got Dallas-Fort Worth, which is outside of Dallas, if I recall, and then Love Field, I think the original Dallas airport. Describe to us what's it like as far as the last couple of months there at Love Field.
The last couple of months have been slow. A lot of people obviously are kind of weary of going on vacation and doing anything of that sort. But here lately, we've had a couple more people that are flying more, that are getting on the plane. So we're hopeful that this COVID-19 too shall pass, so we can kind of go back to somewhat a normal life.
Great, thanks. I got to ask you this. I mean, to the best of your knowledge, how can society as a whole, help the rest of the world to move past skin color and towards being responsible, respectful citizens, if you had a chance to send out a helpful message?
I always refer back to that quote from Martin Luther King's speech where he says, don't judge an individual by the color of their skin, but by the contents of their heart and the contents of their character. And I think that's really important for everybody just to look past the color and just really go for the contents of their character versus the color of their skin. And always, I stand firm with the quote of love above hate.
Good. That's good. Thank you. Now, let's shift gears again to something a little bit more light. Let's talk about food. Now, I was told you have a passion for cooking and an idea for using fusion recipes, from your experience, from your upbringing, bringing cultures together. Describe this. If you have any samples on the table, do share with us.
Absolutely. And just to go back to the different cultures, I think it's one dish that I have to point out is in the Philippines, we have this dish. It's called nilaga. It's basically a beef broth stew with beef neck bones. And here in the South, we also have this dish called neck bones and cabbage, and the two are basically the same thing, but from two different cultures. But there it is, we're all the same. But we may have a little different flavor, but at the end of the day, we're the same.
And of course, the ingredients, involving nilaga or beef broth with bone, you just have to be very creative in finding the alternative ingredients. When you make something one that's based on the Philippine recipe, then you have one, for the Texas recipe. And I know people in Texas love their beef. Is that correct?
Yes, we do. Absolutely. We do love our beef. And I always think to myself, some days I feel like going to my Filipino side and having some soy sauce and calamansi, but then there's days that I just want my hot sauce. So,
Wow. Yeah. Well, it's interesting too that, and you guys have really a diverse, array of cuisines there in the great state of Texas. What's your favorite dish, if I may ask, as far as what you prepare for yourself or for your family?
I would have to go. I'm a seafood eater, so I would have to go with the seafood boil. I am a seafood boil. That is my absolute favorite. My absolute favorite.
Well, good. Best of luck in finding some there. In the middle of the state. You may have to go to Galveston or somewhere in that area to really get something fresh. Just have Kathleen hook you up, for something for a fresh catch there. But it's great that you love that kind of fare. Now, really, just wondering what kind of message do you wish to share with others right now? In these trying times, whether it be the social unrest or the pandemic, or both, or other effects that are livelihood-wise. Surely you have friends, and coworkers who may have problems. Well, what would you like to tell them?
My main thing right now with everything that's going on, I always tell my friends, this is a different time, and the most important thing we can all do, regardless of what you believe in, it's just important to find your place in your spiritual life and find that place to where you can, pray to God and be at one, be at peace. That goes a long way, is being prayerful and find your peace. Find your own peace and your own consolation during these hard and trying times.
And to keep yourself positive, between you and your family. How do you, what kind of, if we may ask it, how do you guys keep yourselves busy and active despite having to shelter in place?
Oh, that's a good question. Here at our house, we are big gardeners. In our backyard, I always tell my mom it looks like a jungle because we have all different kinds of plants in the back. We have fruits, we have vegetables, and that's our consolation that keeps us busy and gives us something to do within the days.
Well, and I think especially around this time of year, North Texas and parts of the South and Midwest, the temperatures are rising. Maybe you could plant something that provides a shade. How about that?
Absolutely. We're almost close to the hundreds out here, so it's getting pretty hot.
Now, I also remember now this is hurricane season. What are you guys doing to prepare, for this time of year?
Yes, absolutely, and that's another thing that's coming soon. Hurricane season it's right around the corner. And from what I've been reading on the articles and the news and stuff, they're saying that it may be a hard time. We may have some really bad storms this year because of the global warming that surrounds us. So we're just all going to hang tight and take one day at a time.
Well, be careful there, and I know you guys are going to be busy, you know, with everything that's going on, and at the same time, you know, you just have to be careful with your movements. I wish you the best for you and your family. You please take care of yourself, and we look forward to hearing from more of you, especially there in North Texas. I'll tell you what, Kathleen's with us right now. I'm trying to send a message to her because, you know, Dallas is a beautiful place as far as I recall.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alfred. I appreciate your time.
That was Lovely Anderson from North Texas in the Fort Worth area. And if for those of you who want to see her again, this broadcast will be available for later on at YouTube if you want to catch our interview with Lovely Anderson. Thank you again. Coming up, neighbors helping neighbors even in these challenging times. Stay with us, Eagle News. We'll be right back.
Mga kababayan, naharap na naman po tayo sa mabigat na pagsubok na ito. Ito yung COVID-19.
I hope everyone's okay. I hope everyone's safe.
Nandito po kami para hikayatin pa po kayo na maging matibay.
Mas maging matatag po tayo and just stay positive po sa lahat po ng nangyayari ngayon.
Mga mahal kong kababayan, lampasan po natin, pagtagumpayan po natin ang pagsubok na ito.
Stay strong sa panahon po na to.
Huwag tayong mawawalan ng pag-asa.
At inihikayat din po namin kayo na sana makinig po tayo sa ating gobyerno.
Sumunod muna tayo sa gobyerno dahil yun yung pinakamainam na paraan para hindi na lumagana pa yung virus.
Let's all stay at home.
Spend time with our loved ones, with our families.
At higit po sa lahat, make sure to pray for everyone, pray for everything that is going on right now, especially our frontliners po who are sacrificing their lives to take care of everything.
Higit sa lahat, patuloy tayong lumapit, magtiwala at manalangin sa ating Panginoong Diyos.
Lagi tayong manalangin dahil yung po ang may pinaka-mainam na solusyon sa lahat po ng mga problema natin.
God bless you and your family. Please stay strong and keep our faith.
Tuloy po ang laban.
Alfred Asenas from Hawaii joining you for Eagle News America. In an effort to recognize the contribution of healthcare and other essential frontline workers in combating COVID-19, the Iglesia Ni Cristo or Church of Christ in the Hampton region of Virginia organized an appreciation event there. We have Sarah Nakban, our Eagle News correspondent in Virginia, with this story.
The U.S. death toll of COVID-19 recently just passed 100,000. Healthcare workers, COVID frontline workers, are faced with the deadly virus every day. And so the Church of Christ, or Iglesia ni Cristo, from the Hampton Roads region appreciated them today. The event started with a car parade that was guided and assisted by the City of Virginia Beach Police Motorcycle Unit. Over 100 Centera Princess Anne Hospital staff, including their president, Paul Gadden, greeted the procession of cars, decorated with balloons and encouraging messages.
We are so appreciative of the outpouring of support that we just received here this morning, and want to thank the congregation for everything that you've done and that you're doing and that you will do.
What we are doing today is an activity of the Church of Christ, or the Iglesia ni Cristo, wherein we are giving back to the community. It is called an INC giving activity. It is very important that we recognize those who go out of their way and beyond the call of duty for the sake of others. And sometimes our frontliners are not appreciated, and so we are actually appreciating them today.
Virginia Beach Mayor Bobby Dyer and council members Sabrina Wooten and Michael Berlucci joined the church in the appreciation.
I just want to thank the Church of Christ for sponsoring an event here at the Princess Anne Centera Hospital, honoring our heroes, our first responders.
In addition to the parade, church members from the congregations of Chesapeake, Norfolk, Newport News, Richmond, and Virginia Beach provided the COVID-19 frontliners with 100 boxes of pizza, cases of bottled water, and gift baskets of snacks. Children-made greeting cards and drawings were included in the gift baskets. In Virginia Beach, Sarah Nackman, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Mahalo, and thank you very much for that report, Sarah. It's nice to see, communities reaching out to each other even while social distancing. And hats off to the members of the Church of Christ there in Virginia. Now, from the Mid-Atlantic, we go to the southern U.S., where members, again, of the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, held simultaneous events recognizing essential workers in Alabama, Georgia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Tennessee by presenting them with gifts of appreciation. We have Philip Toledo from our Georgia Bureau with this report. Philip?
Thanks, Alfred. The Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, recently held simultaneous aid to humanity events in the southeastern United States, aimed at helping essential workers and communities jumpstart recovery from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. This was held in various states in the region, and church members joined together to combine their efforts. From central Georgia to the Atlanta area, church members coordinated to focus on the individual essential workers that had served each family both before and during the current pandemic. They put together appreciation packs filled with healthy snacks and essential items such as hand sanitizer and cleansing wipes to deliver to their mail carriers, delivery drivers, and other essential workers. The recipients expressed their surprise and joy at the heartfelt thanks they received from these tokens of appreciation.
Hello, and thank you so much. I'm so proud to be your letter carrier.
Thank you, INC, for the goodies. Thank you so much.
In Alabama, church members from across the state and even Nashville converged at a Huntsville post office to show support for postal workers, giving out help packages of household items such as toilet paper and cleaning supplies, as well as packages of food. Ministerial worker Brother Benjamin Marges spoke to the dedication of essential workers throughout the past few months. Let's take a look.
The importance of having this is to show our appreciation to the community in all that they have done, especially for us who receive things on a daily basis. We know once again that they work so hard. Sometimes they have no sleep. Sometimes they don't even get to go home to their families. And we wanted to just put a simple smile on their face, while as well showing to the community that this church indeed exists.
Finally, the Church of Christ members in the North and South Carolina areas conducted an Aid to Humanity event in High Point, bringing needed supplies to the community. 500 special bags were prepared, containing pasta, bread, canned goods, as well as a case of water for each family. Wearing masks to help with social distancing and undeterred by rainy weather, volunteers gave out over 300 bags to local families in a drive-through setting. The rest of the supplies were donated to a nearby shelter that was having trouble acquiring such items due to grocery shortages in the immediate area. This multi-state effort by the Iglesia Ni Cristo to lend a helping hand comes as residents of the southeastern United States are trying to recover from the economic effects of the coronavirus pandemic. If there's something we can learn from this, even during current times, the simplest tokens of appreciation can bring joy and brighten the lives of those around us. In Atlanta, Georgia, Philip Toledo, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Mahalo, thank you very much for that great report, Philip. And always, as always, may you and your family stay safe, especially around there in the southern U.S. Now, before we sign off, we continue to thank our frontline and essential workers who continue to watch out for our health and safety, not only in response to the ongoing COVID-19 outbreak, but especially in light of recent events involving unrest in various parts of the U.S. and even Canada. And you can never forget a super congratulations to the young men and women of the historic class of 2020. We're going to show some pictures here as I call out their names, and I hope I pronounce them correctly. And we do so in every broadcast. So here they are: Alyssa Kalalo, Angelo Dominique, Dan Beliza, Drew Enireb, Liana Canlas, Monique Mascarinas, and Nathaniel Gasmen. Now, and for those who are waiting for others to be recognized, stay tuned to our Eagle News America broadcast in the coming days. We will always do our best to highlight them and recognize them for their academic achievement. Well, this wraps up Eagle News America. I'm Alfred Acenas, coming to you from Hawaii. We'll see you in our other news programs, because we live in interesting times. Aloha.